Good afternoon, YouTube. So I am still at Denver, Colorado. Decided I would just go ahead and stay here. If you look at right now, if you look at the traffic map of Colorado, it kind of looks radioactive. So I think since it is snowing and the chain requirements are in effect for a large portion of I-70 west of Denver, and there's so much bumper-to-bumper traffic in the greater Denver area, all around it, especially to the west. I think the best thing for me to do is just stay put, and so the people back in the office have no problem at all with that. They would rather that I would, that any driver would stay put as opposed to doing something that would, that would be, that's unsafe, or that would be unsafe, or that could potentially be unsafe. And so I'm just going to stay here until, I've made the decision to stay here until the weather and the conditions basically improve. I don't really care about the weather. Obviously the weather's involved, but I'm more concerned with the conditions. I want, the conditions of Interstate 70 have to improve west of here, because it's right now bumper-to-bumper traffic, obviously snow covered, and not, I don't know if you've ever been in that kind of a situation where the road's completely snow covered and you've got heavy traffic, multiple lanes of bumper-to-bumper traffic that's barely moving in that kind of snowstorm. That's actually, I think, kind of dangerous. It's a dangerous situation to be in, or to put yourself in. So it's now later in the evening, and kind of typical when there's not enough parking spaces in the winter. Sometimes in truck stops, people will park just anywhere, kind of blocking other people in. But it probably doesn't matter, because people aren't going anywhere right now anyway. So even if I wanted to leave at this point, I couldn't, because that especially because of the truck that's right there in front is kind of parked there. What's kind of weird is that they're sort of partially blocking the driveway along here, along this edge, kind of along the edge of that garage over there, where you see the steam rising from their heating system. So anyway, spending the night here, and hopefully the weather is going to improve. By the way, earlier today I talked to a driver that actually came from the west, and he said, basically, and I already knew this, there's about 121 miles of I-70 where they're requiring chains, and at least that was today. And so he, there's 121 or 128, something like that, miles with the chains. And he was finally able to remove them just before he got into the Denver area. Well, he had a problem. Two of his tires, it turned out, I don't know if they had to be replaced, but one of them may have blown out. That's why he stopped, and then he checked in with the shop, and they told him, well, give us your cell phone number, we'll call you when we're ready for you to come into the shop. And so in the meantime, he had to go park. Well, while he was parking, another one of his tires came off. I don't know if it just lost the sucker, or the bead as they call it, lost that, and so after he parked, I saw him, you know, rolling the tire up, and I happened to cross paths with him as he was rolling the tire to the shop, and he said, well, this other tire came off. So, you know, chains are only designed, typically, maybe you can go 20 miles with them. You don't want to go more than about 25 miles an hour with chains, and so he was, you know, he had to go like 128 miles, and that's what they're requiring right now, and they're just not designed to do that. So even though he made it across there, the last time I looked, he was still here. You know, that's been a couple of hours ago. They hadn't even gotten him into the shop yet. So, you know, it turned out that, you know, he made it, but you know, at the expense of possibly replacing 2 tires, as well as it delayed him anyway. So I don't know. I don't feel so bad about just sitting here all day today. And you know, I sent him a message earlier, and I said, hey, I've made the decision that I'm just going to park and kind of wait the bad conditions out, and they came back and said no problem at all. So they understand, you know, kind of what's going on today with the weather, especially in Colorado. So anyhow, maybe it'll be better tomorrow. So from Wheat Ridge, Colorado, once again, I'll catch you later.